While the awesome rally supercars were justifiably grabbing all the public attention, there was another side to Group B that never really got off the ground. The category was also intended for sports car racing, and Jaguar's chief engineer in the mid-80s, Jim Randall, actually designed the incredible 220 mph XJ220 supercar with that in mind.
I sat down and started thinking, what sort of car would one have to design that would be an effective road car but with very little modification. It could be a race-winning car in effectively Group B. Now, Group B at that time was only rally cars. There was no Group B racing, road racing at that time. Nevertheless, it was an interesting category.
The Jaguar was actually disqualified from the GT class on a minor technicality. But no matter, it had proved its point and left us with an idea of what Group B sports car racing might have looked like. Had Group B sports car racing ever got off the ground, this is another car that would undoubtedly have been involved. Ferrari was a perennial rival to Jaguar in long-distance sports car events and had already designed and built the 288 GTO to contest the class. In fact, the 288 GTO was also intended to be Ferrari's rally contender, probably only on tarmac events, but one never knows. A rally version of the 308 GT had done well in Corsica and San Remo earlier in the 80s, and after all, Ferrari are part of the same group as longtime rally supporters Fiat and Lancia. Would we have ever seen this turbocharged 2.8-litre V8 out on the special stages with Audi, Peugeot, Ford and the rest of them? Again, who knows? But what a great sight to daydream about. Ferrari were obviously extremely serious about Group B, for they went ahead in 1986 and built 4 examples of a staggering evolution version of the 288 GTO. Essentially, it was a sports racing car with 650 horsepower from its twin-turbo engine. No one knows the exact purpose for which Ferrari intended the 288 GTO Evo to be used, but a return to Le Mans in the GT category is a good bet. When Group B was abandoned, Ferrari detuned the V8 to a mere 450 horsepower and further developed the 288 GTO, seen here, into the superb F40 road car. Since then, racing versions of the F40, using essentially the 288 GTO Evolution engine, have performed with success in GT sports car competition. Here's a rare chance to see a 288 GTO Evoluzione in racetrack action. Wherever you find Jaguar and Ferrari, you'll find Porsche. So it was no surprise to see this big three talking about involvement in Group B racing and building suitable cars. The Porsche 959 was perhaps the most complete car of the three in Group B terms. It was a superbly equipped, almost luxurious road car with four-wheel drive and an only slightly detuned version of the twin-cam flat-six engine from the company's dominant Le Mans cars. Performance was in the 190 mile-an-hour bracket and over 200 miles an hour for the lighter, more powerful competition version. There was even a racing version, the 961, much lightened and with 640 horsepower. Apart from a burst tyre, it cruised home to 7th overall at Le Mans in 1986 and won the GTO class, which was the closest equivalent to Group B in that race. Porsche chose an unusual arena in which to display the rallying capabilities of the 959. the awesome test of the 3-week-long Paris-Dakar Marathon, the bulk of which was run across the wastelands of North Africa's Sahara Desert. By doing this, Porsche sidestepped head-on confrontation with the World Rally supercars. They all had a 2 or 3 year development advantage by the time the original Porsche concept car on which the 959 was based was unveiled at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 1983. A Porsche first appeared in the Paris-Dakar in 1984. There was a 3-car team, in fact, of 3-litre turbocharged 4-wheel drive cars that were effectively a hybrid of the 911 and the 959 prototype. Frenchman René Metge won the event, with Grand Prix star Jackie Ickx 6th after losing time replacing burnt-out wiring. The following year, 3 cars which were closer to the 959 specification were entered with bigger but non-turbo engines in the interests of reliability. In fact, all 3 retired. Ickx and fellow Grand Prix driver Jochen Mass hit rocks and damaged their cars beyond repair. Previous winner Metge missed a time control. In 1986, the true 959s appeared, and this time there were no mistakes. Metge won again, with Ickx second. What's more, even the backup service crew car finished 6th. A 200-mile-per-hour road-going supercar, a class winner at Le Mans, and a winner of the Paris-Dakar. By this reckoning, the Porsche 959 must have been the best all-round Group B car of them all. Peugeot were another company who took their Group B cars on the desert trail. When the category was banned from international rallying in 1986, the French company were left with a team of cars which had won the World Rally Championship for the past 2 years and were now left with precious few opportunities to compete. The choice for team manager Jean Todt was really an obvious one. At that time, no event in motorsport received more coverage in France than the Paris-Dakar. The whole nation, and much more of Europe as well, was caught up in the romance, the adventure and the dangers of racing from the French capital across Europe and the Sahara to the Atlantic coast city of Dakar in West African Senegal. Television images of this exotic event were beamed back each evening for 3 weeks onto primetime television in France and then out all over the world. To win the Paris-Dakar was a guarantee of huge home market sales in France and a respectable slice of the export market for any French manufacturer. Using rally stars such as Ari Vatanen, who won the event at his first attempt in 1987 and again in 1990, Peugeot dominated the event until they scaled down their efforts to move on into international sports car racing and eventually Formula One. It was a fitting way to bring down the curtain on one of the greatest team efforts in world rallying history. In 1985, Audi had taken their Group B Quattro to another incredible event. It was rather shorter than the Paris-Dakar, but it was equally unique in motorsport. Rather shorter indeed. The winning time was usually around 11 minutes instead of 3 weeks. Pikes Peak is a 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado, and since the earliest days of motoring, drivers have been racing up to the summit via a 12.5-mile dirt road. For 4 years, European Group B teams flocked to this American classic and totally dominated the proceedings. Despite the efforts of Ari Vatanen in the Peugeot, Walter Röhrl was king of the hill.
The Nach Amerika gegangen, um meine Arbeit zu machen. Hinten habe ich gesagt, Gott sei Dank, das war ein ganz wichtiger Punkt in meinem Leben, das muss man erlebt haben, dass man da mit 220 eine Schotterstraße rauffahrt. Von der Straßenkante geht es wie von der Tischkante, ohne alles 400-500 Meter ins Nichts, mit einem Auto, das jenseits von 600 PS hat. Zu jedem Zeitpunkt kannst du mit dem Gasfuß irgendwas verkehrt machen. Ein Auto, das damals das erste Rallye-Auto war, wo man ein bisschen Abtrieb versucht hat zu machen mit den Flügeln. Das war also unheimlich toll und ich muss sagen, ich habe es im Fahren genossen und habe aber auch noch mehr genossen, die Aufnahmen nachher vom Hubschrauber zu sehen, wie toll das Auto da, wie auf Schienen den Berg aufgefahren ist. Also das war sicherlich schon der Gipfel, was man mit so einem Auto hat machen können.
But, in the final analysis, it will always be the rally supercars for which Group B will be remembered. Cars developed at such a pace that they simply became too fast for the terrain that they competed on. Cars that truly were too fast to race.